Good morning, it's Joe Maxwell and Brenda Ryan from Hare's Nest Stitchery, and I hope you enjoy our little chat about putting this house together. By now you should have your embroidery completed, and you will have a line in a faint pencil or a tacking line, I've done both, around the shape of the house, and then you will cut about 1/2 inch away from that line. So now we're going to cut away. I leave a bit more than than 1/4 inch, because it gives you an opportunity to correct any mistakes you make. And you're best off cutting twice than cutting it too tight and then realising that you haven't got enough fabric. So I'll just finish cutting this and then I'll talk to you about the next step. So I've now cut away all around it. There's my line, and that's the distance, 1/2 inch or a centimetre. Now I'm going to turn it over, and using my eye, I'm going to slip my scissors underneath and just cut away the parlan. So see what I'm doing? Just cutting away the parlan about a centimetre or 1/2 inch. And you can see my tacking line in there. And that just helps me keep it in place. I found that quite helpful. And then across the bottom. So that's what it should look like on the back. So we've got a template now that's going to sit like that, and we're going to use our double-sided tape, which is this stuff, and we're going to mark all the way around it with the double-sided tape. See the pink marks? So we're going to go all the way around our house. I'm not that careful. So that's the next step. And now we're going to put this across and glue it down. Can you see what we're doing now? We're going to put it on every single part of it. So here, where we've got, I do the sides first, and I pick it up, and I don't go right down into the corner, but I go a fair way down into the corner. Because that corner doesn't actually have to be square. It can actually have a little ding in it. It won't matter. So there. Just push it tight. And that's what it's going to look like when you've done it. Okay. So that's what it's looking like now.
I just want to zoom in, Joe, just to give him a bit of a close-up of that. That's good. Okay.
So now we turn it over, and we've got our house. It looks like we've got a line of tacking there. I don't worry about stuff like that. If you've used a grey lead pencil, it will actually dust off in time, and it won't take long for that to happen. And then we're going to crack our dots, and we're going to pull it together. And now we're going to start our glove stitch, and we're starting our glove stitch there, working down to here, so that we can use the rest of the thread to put the floor in. Okay, and I'm using one that I've prepared earlier. So I have done my my roof and my floor in exactly the same way that I've done the house. And this one I did earlier. So I'm going to slip my knot in underneath there in the corner. And I pull my walls. I'll just get that ready in my hand, then I'll show you. Pull my walls together so that they meet. And I'm taking a bit of that and a bit of that. And I'm going over, and I'm going to do it again to start my glove stitch off. Pull it very tight. So I've just tucked all that in there. That meets nicely at the bottom. So you can see I've got a nice straight wall. I'm going to take a bit of that and a bit of that. Pull it together. You could use ladder stitch if you like. I actually happen to love glove stitch because it's a bit tactile, a bit textural, and it could be a vine going up the side of the building if you liked. And notice I'm not taking terribly much, and my stitches are quite big. Yours could be very small, they could be tiny. It's up to you. I'm doing it larger so that you get a better visual of what we're trying to achieve. So glove stitch is done where you move down and then you go over it again to lock it in and pull it tight. Now, can you see what we've done? We've got our house shape happening. And now we're going to put our floor in. And I hold it in place. See how I said to you it didn't matter that these bits of fabric were floating around, because you just poke them in with your needle as you go. So this time I'm going to go that way to show you, give you a better visual. Pull it tight, come around, pull it tight, move along. And as I said before, mine are quite big stitches, but you could do quite tiny stitches. And I'm doing this to show you a visual of what it's going to look like when it's finished, okay? You got a question, Brenda? Brenda's sitting here.
No, no, I think it looks really good. I sometimes use ladder stitch, sometimes use glove stitch. I don't really have a preference either, but I do like the glove stitch because you can sometimes put French knots over the edges, and which looks afterwards, which looks quite nice. To pretend it and put some green French knots in amongst the glove stitch, and it looks very good.
Oh, I've lost my needle.
These are examples of the little pin street houses.
Actually, they're leftovers that Leon did ages ago that we didn't use.
Are they? Right, but they're similar.
They're similar size, but the
yes.
Little Pin Lane house is very small.
Yes.
And that's manipulating that will be a little bit more challenging than manipulating something this size.
The larger one.
Yeah.
The Stitchery Village.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, these were bits and bobs that I've had that we didn't use. I thought, oh, I'll just use them for this. And I'm about to run out of thread, which is a bit annoying. So just make sure you cut them a little bit longer than I have. But I'm using a long needle because I like a long needle. It keeps better control of it. Yep. So now I've finished that and I've pulled it tight. This is all I ever do. I go in there like that, and then I just do a little couple of back stitches. The chances of that coming undone are remote. Pull it, give it a yank, and then trim that off.
Beautiful.
Go!
And now, and Leon just clapped his hands. Nearly made me deaf. Now we're going to put the roof back on. So we bend the roof in the crack down the middle and place it on top. and you think, and this is awkward, and you're going to say, where am I going to start? So I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to go across to here and down there, and then I'm going to give you an idea across there, which I intend to ladder stitch across there because it's easier. So I'm going to start over here. So I'm actually going to put my knot, I've got a knot in this, into the corner there of the roof. So you can see that. And it's just a little bit tricky to get started. So if we just take a bit of that and a bit of the roof, I tend to hold it. I now know what I was doing wrong. I tend to hold it this way. I find this a little bit easier when I'm doing. So I've just done a couple of stitches there and pulled it tight. So I find it easier to pick up that and go that way than to try and do it the other way.
So you're starting with the wall side
Yep.
onto the roof side.
That's right. And just doing large stitches. Now you saw all that pointy bit sticking out. As I said to you, that doesn't matter because it just poke it in with your needle as you go. And just observe what and sometimes you hit the cardboard like then. That doesn't matter. So then we're coming down here on this side. And again, oh, see that pencil line there? That will go eventually. It'll dust off. And I'm not worried about it because to me, you can't notice it with the linen unless you've drawn it too thick. And it will still dust off, and it will actually rub off with a razor. So now we're getting to the bottom here. We're going to poke all that rest of that house up there. Look at that. Wouldn't even know it had happened. And we'll get down there, and I have jumped a bit too far, but I've sort of done a couple more stitches because I did 3 there. I'm doing 3 on this side. Now you can either leave that and just scoot straight across and glove stitch it, or you can ladder stitch. And I'm going to ladder stitch to show you what you can do. So ladder stitches straight up, across, straight down, straight up, across, and straight down. So if you keep your eye on this, so it's straight up and straight down. So straight down, take a bit of fabric. Straight up, take a bit of fabric. Straight down, a bit more, and straight up and get to the corner. And then that's what ladder stitch does, closes a closing. Now you can see a mistake that I made. I wasn't exactly straight up and down, and that's what happens if you're not exactly straight up and down. That little mark there. I mean, this is a creative piece. Those sorts of things don't honestly matter unless you're a perfectionist, and then you've got a problem because you're doing Brenda and I our work, and we certainly are not perfectionists. The messier it is, the better. And now I end up coming back up this side the same as I did the other side, and I find that it works much easier for me this way. And I am doing my stitches big, but I'm doing that for a reason, and that is to show you what the stitch looks like. So if you want to do it smaller and in a thread that matches better, I didn't think about that because I wanted you to see it. I'm using a Pearl 12 cotton broder because that shows up better for you to see, not because it's what I like or what I'd use. Now I'm going to just use my needle, and I'm going to stuff all that back down in there, like that. Got to the top. Turn the corner, and that's all stuffed in there nicely. I'm getting to the end of the thread, which is a little bit annoying. I pre-cut these for today thinking that it would be long enough. And now I'm down here, and I'm doing 3 again because I did 3 on each side of that little roof. And now I'm going to run out of thread.
Maybe this time
So
you can
now
show
see-
people what it is like, what it's like with
Yeah,
if you don't stitch it at all.
So I'm just poking that up into there.
And I like it because you get like a little
And that,
overhang.
and that can stay like that because that
Yes.
won't come out. So I'm just going to do a couple of stitches across there to get rid of that thread. Trim that off. And there's your little house.
I like the little shadow there.
Yep, it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
It looks nice, that compared to that. So that's my little house. There's several little houses. There's a...
Now
these are all...
That's one using the plain fabric that's in the kit.
Yep. In the little pin
that's-
lane one.
Yes.
So you
That's
can
the
see...
plain fabric, yes.
You can see how tiny these stitches are, and I've done ladder stitch along there as well. But these are all ones that I've previously done as samples for people to have a look at. And I've just put little bits of fabric for doors and different things on them. So you can see I matched the roof and I had enough to put a little door on. So there we go. Hope that's been helpful, and enjoy.
Beautiful.
They're cute. They're so cute to do. They're such fun to do. We've got hundreds of them now. We've got 10 little villages everywhere. And if you were doing the little pin lane for the children, and it fits into the little pin lane purse, the houses fit into that. We did that so that if you were making it for children, then you've got a little collection for them. And if you wanted to, the hussar fits in the purse if you didn't want to do the houses. So there you go. Thank you very much for listening. Brenda, you got anything else?
No, thank you. Thank you, Joe. Well done. Have a little quick look at the couple of the stencil. There's
Brenda and I have, thanks to the help of Leon, made a set of stencils. There's 5 in the set. There's an elephant, a hare, a bee, a flower, and a snail, who's my favourite. And now I'm just going to show you a few things that Brenda has stitched. We're using our stencils. So there's the bee, and there's the flower, and there's the hare, and there's the snail. You'll have to buy the elephant if you want to see what it looks like. It's absolutely gorgeous. But these are the 3 that I had here at the moment. So, thank you very much.